Hi, I'm Greg Denning. This video is something that's been kind of growing inside me. So every once in a while you get this idea, this feeling, and it starts to almost prepare itself, it starts to build and grow. And finally you just say, I gotta make a video. I gotta share this idea. So I have a lot of great stories and great principles to share in this video. I don't know exactly where it started. But last night, boy, it just hit home with force. We sat down with my wife and our 6 children. We sat down and we watched an amazing movie called Gifted Hands. And it's about part of the life of Ben Carson, who is an incredible neurosurgeon and, came from a rough background, and came from a place where didn't have a lot going for him in the beginning. And kind of built his life, and it illustrated that great principle, the principle I want to share in this video. Right, and I guess I'm a little concerned that this message is so important that I want you to get it. I want this to sink into your heart and your soul and your life, and I don't want my inadequacy in being able to express it to get in the way or prevent you from really feeling this. I sincerely believe this is the number one key. The number one principle, the number one habit for living a happy and successful life. This is huge. I don't know how to emphasize it enough. But I'll share some experiences that I've had recently that I hope help illustrate it. 2 weeks ago, I was in Peru with my wife. And we met a lot of great people, had a lot of great discussions, and a lot of great conversations. And in Peru, especially in Lima, the wealth isn't divided by like this neighborhood and that neighborhood. There will be a very poor family living right next door to a very wealthy family. And it's kind of just mixed in. One street is just phenomenal houses, gated community. Next street over is real poor. And some are going to the little public school and not getting much of an education. And the people next door are going to an amazing private academy and getting an incredible education. And it really stood out there. It was a really great contrast. We had these great conversations and really just walked away. You know what? It's what you know that makes the difference, right? It's who you're becoming and how you're living. Now, that's part of the principle, but it's not the whole. I guess if I could really try to illustrate it and put it into words, I would say your life culture, and with that, your family culture. It's the things you do almost without thinking. Like, what are your habits? What do you just default into? I had a great conversation yesterday in Costa Rica with some incredible youth and really tried to help expand this idea. Like, what do you do with your free time? What is your default habit? And it's what we do with ourselves when we don't have to do anything else that makes all the difference. That's it right there. It's what you do when you don't have to do anything else that makes all the difference. See, Ben Carson's mom was working as a cleaning lady and went over to this house of this professor, and he just had a huge, beautiful library and a wealthy home. And she's like, have you read all these books? And he's, yeah, reading is what makes a difference. She went home, and she realized that the children and the people in her neighborhood watch TV. And the children and the people in the wealthy neighborhoods, the successful people, they read great books. They get a phenomenal education. And so she went home, and though her kids really didn't like it, and they protested and they fought it, said, no. We're going to limit to two TV programs a week. The rest of the time you're going to spend in the library and learning, hitting books. You're going to give me reports. And she went after it. She was firm about it. And it led them to a love of learning, which led to a desire for a great education, which led to who Ben Carson is today and having saved many lives and in many ways revolutionized medicine. Incredible. And that can happen for you and it can happen for me. But what do you do with your free time? I talk to a lot of youth and a lot of people, and I ask them, what do you usually do? And it's often you don't even think, okay, I don't have anything to do. What should I do? It's just your default. It's what you do. Most people just turn on the TV. Or now they pick up a phone And as I've asked a lot of youth and a lot of adults, say, what are you spending most time doing? And they're just like, yeah, on my phone or on your devices. Well, what are you doing? You're learning something, you get a great education, you're expanding, you're growing. What are you doing? Social media is what they usually say. And I thought, well, what is it? What is it that makes the difference? What is it? It's the habit, right? Every single qualification for success and happiness comes through habit. And you are the person you are because you formed the habits of that kind of person. And you're getting the education you're living the life you're living. Everything you're doing, everything in your life right now is because of the habits you formed. It's just what you do kind of by default. When you don't have to do anything else, what are you doing? And that affects your education. It affects your marriage and your children, your parenting. It affects the work you do in life. It affects how you're going to feel about, whether you lived an epic life or just a humdrum existence. What are you doing with your time? Is it on the phone? Is it in social media? Is it playing video games or TV? How many of us are neglecting our spiritual side because we don't give it the priority? How many of us are neglecting our mind, our education? There's never a graduation for education. How many of us are neglecting our bodies? We're not. And ask yourself, are you in phenomenal shape right now? Are you living at the level of health you want to live at? How about the level of spirituality you want to live at? How about the level of emotional mastery, emotional intelligence? Are you where you want to be? How are your relationships? Are they just incredible? Are they green and growing and improving and just a great source of fulfillment and happiness? Or are they kind of a drag and kind of a sore spot and a thorn under your flesh, right? Are they causing problems? All of that, I just can't emphasize this enough. All of that is determined by this life culture, this family culture. So in your life and in your home, I want you to take a really great examination. What are the defaults? What do you kind of just go to? What just happens naturally? And is that the kind of thing you want to happen? Is that the way you want to go? Is that where you want your children to go? What kind of culture? What kind of actions? What kind of habits? Again, the only way we're ever going to change and become the people we want to become and live the kind of life we want to live is if we set up those habits and create and discipline ourselves to live those habits until they become natural and we just do them. That's the only way to do it. You develop those things and then you'll become that kind of person. And you'll literally change the course of your life. And so I look around in the poor and the ignorant, and the unhealthy, and the uneducated, and those who hate their jobs and they struggle, and they want a better job, but honestly, they don't know if they can, they don't think they can, and their own habits prevent them from climbing out of the struggle and the strain and the turmoil. Right? Life is exactly what you make of it, and you make it by the habits that you form. So my challenge to you today, really take a good, honest look at what you just default into. What's your culture? Kind of almost if you could just step back and look at your family life and yourself and say, okay, what do I default to? What do I end up doing with my time? How much time am I spending on a screen, looking at the computer, watching TV, video games, movies, or music? A lot of people just have an addiction to music, and they'll just sit there listening to music. What do you do while you drive? What do you do in the mornings? What's your morning habit you just wake up to and do? What's your evening habits? What are the things you're doing, and are they contributing to the kind of life you want to live and the kind of person you want to become? And if they're not, I challenge you to change them. Do it. Oh, it's so exciting. do it. You can literally climb out of any hole or any place you are and get to a higher place. You can reach upward for greatness, for excellence. Get on this quest. Make that the default. You know, I did this many years ago. I've been doing the same morning routine for about 17, 18 years, and it's my default now. It's just habit. My eating habits. I don't touch junk. I don't touch sweets or garbage or carbonated drinks or the caffeine or any substance that would be harmful or addictive. I don't touch them. And it's not, at first it was a challenge. It was the temptation. Now it's I don't even think about it. And that's where you want to get. You want to get to the place where you're not even thinking about it anymore. And, the same with studying scripture and prayer and meditation. You just do it. It becomes a natural part of your life to nourish your spirit being. And exercise. If you don't exercise, you actually miss it instead of getting like, oh, I have to exercise. Oh, all right. And all of these important areas, you just have the habit of reading. I'm always reading. I don't have to put it on my calendar and say, hey, remember to read. Remember to do that. I always have a book with me. And I'm not saying here that, hey, I'm the example, follow me. What I'm saying is I've really tried to be conscious about this, and it's made all the difference in my life. To come from literally living in the streets, no family around, no friends, nothing, hungry, lonely, ignorant. I've really tried to put a lot of effort into changing who I am and changing my culture, my life culture, and shaping the kind of person I want to become and the kind of life I want to live. And I humbly acknowledge, and with a heart full of gratitude, I live a great life. I really do. I have an incredible marriage, and we're living our dream, and trying to raise children that will be leaders and changers, right? That really make a difference. And we're trying to live deliberately every day. And it's all because I had to make shifts in my habits and in my default responses and reaction to things we do daily. So I hope you felt this. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this has touched you in a way that I wish I could express this. I don't know how to get it out adequately. It's just been growing on me, and I've seen it in all these countries I've visited, and people in all walks of life and all races and backgrounds and cultures and socioeconomic levels in society. I've seen it across the board. The kind of habitual culture you create, in large measure, determines your life. That may be the number one determining factor in how your life turns out. What you do when you don't have to do anything else. And the culture you create and the actions and the habits you create for yourself and your family will make all the difference in your life. Reach upward.